Hi everyone, it's Rabbi Basalala here with Perek Aleph Mishna Vav, the first part. We're going to do the first part of the next Mishnah, and I'm very excited to begin learning it with you. Okay, so let's start the Mishnah. So the Mishnah is talking about the following thing: Misakechin bin Sarim. So the word Misakechin we've had many times before. Misakechin or Ein Misakechin. We know that Misakechin means to use for schach, not just to use, but to use for schach. So Misakechin bin Sarim means we're allowed to use Nisarim for schach. Now what are Nisarim? So look at this beautiful picture that we have right here. It's a beam of wood. A beam of wood. Let's say somebody wants to use beams of wood to cover his sukkah. Is he allowed to do such a thing? Is that allowed? So the Mishnah says, Misakechin bin Sarim, you are allowed to use beams of wood for schach. It's great. They grow from the ground. Wonderful. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. He says you're allowed to. He's the Omer. Rabbi Yehuda says you're allowed to use Nisarim for schach, beams of wood for schach. Rabbi Meir, Oser. However, Rabbi Meir argues on Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Meir says you are not allowed to use beams of wood for schach. Okay, so that's the simple interpretation of the Mishnah, that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir are arguing about whether or not you're allowed to use beams of wood for schach or not. So make sure you have all these things written down in your notes on your sheets as to whether or not you're allowed to use these beams of wood. Machlok between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir. Now I want to introduce to you something new, something we haven't done yet so much in this class. We're going to read something from a rabbi by the name of Rabbi Ovadia bar Tanura. Rabbi Ovadia bar Tanura is a very famous Parshan Mefaresh, an explainer. He explains the Mishnayot, just like we have Rashi on Chumash, who gives us the explanation of the Psukim in the Chumash. We also have Rabbi Ovadia bar Tanura, who gives us the explanation of the Mishnayot. So now Rabbi Ovadia bar Tanura is going to tell us what specific case the Mishnah is talking about. This machloket between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir is only discussing a very specific case. So let's see what that case is. Rabbi Ovadia bar Tanura is going to explain it to us. So please follow along. Make sure you're taking notes on your sheets or in your notebooks, in your binders, as we are going through this perush of Rabbi Ovadia bar Tanura. So he starts with the Dibur HaMatchil, with the words from the Mishnah, Misakechin b'Nisarim divrei Rabbi Yehuda. So now he explains, Banisarim sheyesh bahem arba'at tefachim, if the neser has a width, we're not talking about the length right now, we're talking about the width, how wide, if we're going across, right, from one side to the other of the nesarim, right? So how wide would the neser be? For example, look, okay, so the width would be from here till here of a neser. So the Rav Ovadia bar Tanura says that if the width of the nesarim is, each neser is 4 tfachim wide, divrei hakol psula. Both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir agree that it is psula. You are not allowed to use it as chach. Pachot mishloshat tfachim, if it's less than 3 tefachim, divrei hakol kshera. Everybody agrees that it is kasher. So if the width of your beam of your neser is less than 3 tvachim, everybody agrees that you are allowed to use it for schach. Why? Techashivi kikanim, because they are considered to be like kanim, like pieces of wood, small, like reeds, like small pieces of wood, like our bamboo that we all put on top of our sukkah. Of course that's kasher l'schach. So if they're very small, they're just like regular pieces of wood. Of course they're kasher l'schach. Ki pligi, Rabbi Ovadia bar Tanura explains, when do they argue? When does Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir argue? Mishloshat tvachim ve'ad arba'at tvachim. This whole machloket that we saw so far in the Mishnah between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir as to whether or not you are allowed to use beams of wood for schach, that whole machloket is between 3 tvachim and 4 tvachim. If it's less than 3 tvachim, everybody agrees you are allowed to use it for schach. If it's more than 4 tvachim, everybody agrees that you're not allowed to use it for schach. The whole machloket is between 3 tvachim and 4 tvachim. So let's go back to the Mishnah and look at it one more time, okay? Mesakechin b'nisarim divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says you are allowed to use the nisarim for schach. Rabbi Meir Oser, Rabbi Meir says you are not allowed to use the nisarim for schach. When do they argue? So as we saw in Rabbi Avadia and Bartanura, that if it's less than 3 tvachim, if the width of the beam is less than 3 tvachim, everybody agrees that you are allowed to use it for schach. If the width of the beam is more than 4 tvachim, everybody agrees, both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir agree that you are not allowed to use it for schach. So where do they have a machloket? When it's between 3 tvachim and 4 tvachim. Rabbi Yehuda says you are allowed to use such a beam for schach, and Rabbi Meir says that you are not allowed to use such a beam for schach. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you more soon. Take care. Have a great rest of the day.